up? And welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you guys go to our website, you'll see all the ways that you can follow our social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. Just search, our handle is Opposite Pod, or if you just search Opposites Attract Podcast on any of the social medias in the search bar, you'll find us. And when you go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, you can see ways that you can support the show by clicking the support the show tab and shopping through our Amazon link, which we'll tell you about a little bit more later. And you can contact us and you can click around there and see what you find.
Click.
Yeah, it's got About Us, and I don't even remember what the About Us says. It's time for a freaking refresh.
Yes. Do you guys see this glass of wine?
Why are you talking shit, yo? That's how you're going to start?
What?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, my God.
That I poured you a giant glass of wine.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I appreciate you serving me this big ass glass of wine. You act like you have to get me drunk to get some.
I know I don't. Shoot, girl.
We've been on a roll these days, huh?
We have been.
Yeah. It's so nice. And it's like the more I get it, and we're talking about, you guys doing the dirty. But exactly. Like the more I get it, the more I want it.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this for a sec. Okay. First of all, moms, don't listen to this episode.
Moms.
My mom, your mom.
Oh, okay. But yes, other moms is
yes, good. Yes. So Miguel and I have been married for 15 years.
This is not.
Oh my goodness.
We did not talk about going down this path.
No, but we are.
But okay.
15 years.
Yeah.
Right? And I always, when I think back to us, we always had that connection. Yeah. Right behind closed doors. Like it's something that, and I've always been very driven in that area. I've always been very connected.
Some would say you're a sexual being.
Yes, I am.
Or being.
And there was a time where, you and I were just getting to know each other. And even when the years went on, there were times where I felt a bit disconnected from you in that area.
Yeah.
And I am very sexual. I'm very physical. Like I love to hold hands. I love to kiss.
Very romantical.
Smacking his butt. I'll go and pull on his junk. No. Right. So me being this way.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? Because you at the beginning, and I mean, it took a while to kind of get you to.
Not really. When we first met, we were doing it all the time.
Well, babe, because I was pouncing on you.
No, we were just doing. I think that's how it goes in the very beginning. Yeah. You do it all the freaking time.
But when you think back,
that's how it goes.
Who was pouncing on who? Like think back. I do. Okay. I remember. Right. I remember. But it's not a bad thing. It's okay, right? Like Miguel, so my love language is physical touch. But we didn't know about the different love languages back then. I was just feeling, well, maybe the honeymoon stage has come to an end, right? Yeah. When it comes to, us.
Yeah.
And then me having, some things that I needed to work on, like, security, self-confidence, all that other stuff, because of things that from my past, I was thinking that it was me.
Yeah.
Right? And so do you remember the time when we were going through a situation and we started communicating about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think at that.
And how did you take it? Do you remember how? Because I'm trying to think back. Because most men, if a woman were to come up and say, "Hey, like, what's up? What's going on?"
Well, I don't know. Like, that'd be a question for you. But I think in most cases, if you think of like how I am, if somebody's giving me criticism about something, I'm usually pretty good at, like, if it's honest criticism, it's not like somebody trying to take a fucking dig at me or some shit.
Yeah.
Then I'm usually pretty good at like listening to what they're saying, or at least I try to take it in, but I remember when we were going through some issues, like we weren't having sex like on a regular basis all the time. And it was, I think for women, a lot of times they talk about like how it's mental, right? Yes. And for guys, it's not like really a mental thing, but it's almost kind of the opposite. Because for a guy, if you're like stressed out all the time, and like at that time in our relationship, we were arguing,
we had five kids at
yeah,
times.
we had, we had the our nieces, our niece and nephews that were living with us. It was just a lot happening all at the same time, and that does affect things when you're also being in better shape. At that time, I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. That also affects things.
Yeah, but you were 50 pounds heavier when we first met.
I understand. But that combined with having the kids with us, combined with the stresses of having a new kid, combined with everything else, it's like, it's not always that easy to just freaking...
Right.
I
love you.
And there's a lot of shit that is going through your fucking head.
I love that you brought that up.
And then, and one of the things that makes it the worst, especially like in the moment, like it just doesn't fucking feel good. And I think it's normal a lot of times for women, is like you feel that it has something to do with you.
Yes.
Like, why isn't he into me? And it's like, fucking life is crazy right now.
Right. And this is a perfect example of miscommunication.
Yeah.
Because back then, you didn't express this.
No.
Why? Just think back and dig deep.
No, I think really it was just because I think eventually it came back up again, kind of, but it didn't last. Because at that point, we were communicating better.
Right. But for a man to speak up and share what you just shared with me, in the past, that's not how you handled the situation. Now that you're more in tune with your emotions and you're okay with expressing yourself, it's easier for you to express yourself, because back then you would just get pissed and upset. And that's why I was like, what's going on?
Well, I think that also back then, like I said, at that time we didn't communicate. We were still learning all the communication shit in our relationship. So it wasn't just that. There was a lot of shit that we weren't talking about at that time. Yeah. We hadn't started, like maybe we were going to get started on like mentioning the little things and then working our way up. And now it's just like we talk about everything. But
was that the time when was that during the time when you cheated?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mine too. So it's so crazy when you play your life back as a movie and you can see everything that transpired, like from that time, like the things that happened, what we went through, things that we've learned, things that we overcame together. I mean, it was just so much at once, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And instead of turning to each other, we turned outward.
Yeah. That period was one of those cycles where it's just like every day is just getting through the next day. And it's kind of like you need to fucking snap out of it. But every day you're just kind of getting through the next day. It's
so crazy because we had a lot of good times as well.
We did.
Right?
They were mixed in.
People that are watching this that have known us for a very long time are probably puzzled to hear what we're talking about.
That's probably another thing, yeah.
Yeah, because most people saw the fairy tale. And it's not like I was very expressive. Even on Facebook, if you look at my previous Facebook post, I'm talking about challenges that I am going through.
Yeah.
Right?
Not spelling it out, but.
No, but.
Like you're going through some stuff.
Right. Like I never pretended to be someone that I'm not. Maybe I didn't get on and express in great detail.
We're getting into something else.
What was happening.
But,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but I do think you're right. Like a lot of times, just because you see something doesn't, like, especially another household. Like if you think that, oh, so-and-so is this, like you do know them.
Mm-hmm.
But behind closed doors, inside that house, some things may be different. And you just never know what that could be.
What made you snap out of it? What made you decide, all right, enough is enough? Like, do you remember that moment where you decided to make a decision?
It wasn't. It was like a event. I can't remember exactly the moment that it was. But it came after like one of those moments of where you just kind of like look at, like, it's the time in between just getting through the day. Like we talked about.
Right.
It's one of those moments of clarity when I just took a moment to like look around. And when I looked around, I was like, you're fucking up. Because this is everything that you've ever wanted. And you're fucking it up. And then, like, at the same time, I was looking at the things that I had already missed out on. With our family, with the kids, with you. Just from like fucking surviving from day to day. Going to work, coming back with the kids and going here, going there. Like it was just one day after the next, after the next.
During that time, so Miguel's stress level.
Let me give you an example. So at that time, we were also working the business. So we're doing a lot of shit. Because at one point, I was also doing presentations for Legal Shield in Spanish and like running meetings and shit in the evenings while I'm working a regular job during the day. After work, I would pick up the kids and bring them to the house. Like it was just
one thing after another. We were fighting for your daughter. We were in a shit show of a lawsuit fighting.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Very, very complicated. Very stressful.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Yes. Not including the other lawsuit. Right? The us fighting for our nephews and nieces.
Yeah.
Because their dad was trying
that's
to
all
come
happening
in.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember also at that time I was working, like I remember I would get to work at 6 a.m. and there was days like that company didn't really monitor. Like there was so much work to do and they didn't monitor the overtime. So you could just kind of do whatever the hell you wanted. And there was times I'd be there, like I'd get there at 6 or 5 a.m. and I wouldn't leave till 6 p.m.
So I am not seeing my husband. Right?
There was a time where I was working 2 full-time jobs.
Right. And I was at home.
And trying to be a rapper.
Taking kids to counseling. IEP, trying to figure that out. Social Security, trying to figure that out. Yeah. Had a 2-year-old with a newborn, right? When Joey was born.
Yeah.
It was just very chaotic. And that's where the disconnect happened.
Yeah.
Even though there were times where I remember being in your arms and crying because I was so stressed and I was feeling weak. Like I was questioning my strength if I could continue doing what I was doing, and you just holding me in your arms saying, we got this, like we got this. So even though there was all these other stressors, I mean, we did have our moments. We did have those moments. And maybe the infidelity happened because that was your escape. I don't know. Because for me, that was my escape.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember the moment where I was really seeing the disconnect, because there were times where I was throwing divorce at you all the time. Like, just, I'm not going to put up with this. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
And when I started looking at things and really seeing you through love, seeing the hard worker that you are, I changed the way I looked at you. I went from being judgmental to seeing you the way God sees you.
Yeah.
And I started reading the Bible. And God said wives are to submit to their husbands. That's when I saw the change. Because I became more loving.
And that was, I do remember that. I do remember that you did, because we were fighting a lot. We were arguing about all kinds of stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know if we were arguing about, but we did argue more than normal, you know, but then you loved on me, you know.
Through this, I thank God that the kids were younger and that we never had any explosive arguments or disagreements in front of them.
Well, that is something that we unconsciously kind of knew.
Look at you.
Right? Because, yeah. Because it would only get to a certain point in front of the kids. Like, we might have a discussion and a disagreement that might get to a certain point, but at a certain point, like, that's as far as it's going to go in front of the kids. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not taking this any further. We'll talk about this another time, or we may not talk about this for a couple days.
I had to learn that with you. Yeah, I had to learn that about you. I had to give you your space. I had to give you your time to cool, to chill.
But when it came to the kids, it never got past a disrespectful point. It never got It never got past the disrespectful point.
You have never called me a name outside of my name and babe in front of me. Anyway.
I've never called you anything to anybody.
Like, we have always respected each other regardless.
No.
Like, we've always respected each other.
Yeah.
Even through our differences.
Yeah.
Like, I've always had love for you. Like, I've always loved you.
Yeah.
You know, there was just dark moments. You know?
Yeah.
But recognizing pretty quick that that you were not worth losing. Yeah. Right? Like, it's like snapping out of it. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Yeah. Like, you have an amazing man. Like, even in those tough times, I still recognized what I had, and God was showing me what I had. And when I recognized what I had and that I wanted to continue to love you and to be in your life, when I made that decision, everything changed, right? I became that submissive wife. I started serving you. I started recognizing the stress. What can I do to help you?
Yeah.
Waking up in the morning at 4:30 to make your coffee, making sure you had a snack like when you got home. I always made your lunch.
Yeah.
But just taking care of you and loving you.
It's been a while since we talked about the 5 love languages, but that's a story in the 5 love languages that was also around that time, I think. Maybe. Yeah, I think maybe around that time. I don't know if that's when the 5 love languages or maybe a little bit later, but there's a story in the book where like the husband doesn't want anything to, he actually tells the wife, he's like, what are you up to or something like that? Or like, what are you doing? Because she went to go talk to some counselor guy, you know?
Yeah.
And he shares the 5 love languages with her and tells her that she needs to find out what her husband's love language is. And she starts just loving him the way he wants to be loved. And even though the husband doesn't, like, he's clueless about what's going on.
Yes.
He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you being so nice?
Right.
Right?
You're fucking up to something.
Yeah. What do you want?
But it seems good.
I'll take it.
So, yeah. And that's what you did. And like I said, eventually that was, I don't know how long it took, but it was like, you're fucking up. You got it all. You're fucking this up.
And it was difficult, ladies. It wasn't easy. Especially coming from a woman who was very egotistic and very prideful and very masculine.
Listen to our last video, our last clip, where we talk about the independent. That was a clip.
Dude, that was funny. Yeah. Like, that's who I was at that time. And so it took a shift. It took a lot of patience. Because
learning how to communicate.
Yes. And learning how to really start controlling my mouth.
You know what's great?
My actions.
Yeah. You need to watch your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. That's like some New York shit. You need to watch your mouth. But it's crazy because all this learning shit, it doesn't fucking stop.
It doesn't.
Because I'll tell you one thing, even your communication, even after you've come back from India, has changed.
Really?
Like, I think it's more direct. Like, there's things, like you said, if there's something that you need to say, you'll say it. Or you'll tell the person.
Yeah.
Or you'll tell me. Or you'll tell whatever. And you know what? In a way, that's a good thing. Because when you say something like if you have something that you need to say to me, there might be something that I need to say to you. And it starts coming out. And then we work it out.
Right.
But if you don't say it, maybe I won't say it. And it stays inside.
Right. And festers. And does not get resolved.
Or it doesn't come up.
Good.
Or whatever, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think no matter what, like it's cool, like the growth, you know?
And we're always continuing to grow because, I mean, shit, we've been together for 15 years. You were 24.
It's fucking
Were you
crazy.
24? I was
Something
31. Right?
Yeah.
And I was still growing. Like, wow. Yeah. Especially when it comes to like a relationship, right? Just,
yeah.
I already thought I was grown.
Yep.
But like, we've grown up together.
We have.
Like, we've grown up together. We've learned so much together. And we've taught each other so much.
Yeah.
Like watching you and your self-discipline, and we are total opposite of each other. Opposites attract. So opposite.
Yeah. But it works.
But it works because we've learned.
No, you know what? Like, I think, yeah, it is one. We need each other. It's like fucking yin and yang.
No, for reals. I got your yang.
Could you imagine if it was fucking two of you in this relationship?
Oh, God.
Or two of me in this relationship?
No.
It'd be a fucking
horrible.
nightmare.
It really would be.
Get your shit. We're gonna go work out. We're going to the fucking gym. It's nonstop, and it'd be fucking bongs, wow, 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 nonstop. It'd be fucking smelling like incense everywhere you go. If you two of you in this, it'd be fucking crazy. We need each other.
We do, to balance each other out.
And
think about that.
That's how we raise these kids.
Yes, beautiful kids. But I'm sharing all this. It was just something that was put on my heart.
That was
so
fucking
maybe
funny.
There's someone that's watching this that this is going to really help.
You know what? Like, maybe you feel like you don't have that much in common. Or that you guys are completely fucking different. Well, guess what? We're fucking different than each other.
Yeah.
But everybody's allowed to be who they are.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I appreciate who you are. You help me become a better version of me.
Yeah, me too. Oh.
They're like, look at these drunk motherfuckers. No.
Oh, but yeah.
And there was a point in our relationship where I'm like, dude, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, we are so different. When you change the way you think, your whole vision will change. Meaning, I'm going to give you an example. Yesterday, I was upset with you. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, I am so connected to source, right? Like my higher self, whatever it is. Like I am so connected and I'm very spiritual. And I am so excited about where my future is going with, our future, like with the coaching, the book, and everything that's in store. Like I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. And it's going to be fucking amazing. Like it's going to be so good. You can't even visualize where we're going. Yeah. You really can't. Like you are going to be retired because I'm going to retire your ass. Cool and it's going to become so, it's just going to become so easy.
It's like at a certain point, you could just make it up. It's like, what is it that you want? Make it up.
Exactly. But it took me a while to realize that. Like, I am in control of
That's a crazy fucking way to think. What is it that you want?
Yeah.
Make it up.
Let's make it. Let's make it happen. Let's create it.
Yeah.
Let's create it. And I see it. It's funny because I feel it in my bones. I don't exactly know what that looks like yet because there's so much to it. Right? There's books, there's, one-on-one coaching, but there's so much more that's going to transpire. And I know without a doubt that we're going to be living the life that we have always talked about.
Yeah.
Together.
On our terms.
On our terms. Freedom.
Yeah.
Not worrying about anything. It's just being free of.
Yeah.
And it's you and I and the kids and everyone else we're going to serve. But in order to become the person that I am today, I had to go through some shit.
It takes work.
A lot of work. work also doesn't mean, you guys, working freaking from sun up to sundown. It's working on yourself. It is getting to know who in the hell are you and what is it that you want in this life, and dismissing the things that are not for you. Do you understand? Like, and we're so different in this because I'm like, listen, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I had a friend who asked me, hey, would you like to run a marathon? I'm like, hell no, I don't want to run a marathon. That does not make me happy. It's not for me. My soul does not want to run. My soul will push and strength train and box and kick, you know what I'm saying? And do the things that I want to do, because then I'll be better at it because I want to do that.
Right.
Right? Like it's like getting to know who you are, and when you're aligned with who you are, things aren't that difficult.
It's so fun. This whole episode is going to be like opposites attract. Because that's also what I see. Like, there's times when it's like the things that you don't want to do.
Well,
and it's like, well, guess fucking what?
Right.
You got to do it.
But if you love it, like coaching, I fucking love it. I can read and learn and work with my clients all fucking day. I get so lost up in my coaching sessions with my clients because we become one. So even the work that goes behind that, there's times where I'm just like, dang, right? But then it's like, I'm excited at the same time. It's like waking up in the morning and knowing what I have to do to better myself for my coaching.
Yeah.
Getting up in the morning when you're doing something you love, like, it makes it that much more easier. Yeah, there's going to be days where you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this. Like, I'm seeing my client at this time in the morning. Like, you're just like, it's your body, right?
Like you didn't sleep the night before.
Exactly. But then when you focus on the bigger picture and what it is that you're here to do, the things that you don't want to do become easier because you're walking your path.
Yeah.
It's like jujitsu. There's times where you're like, oh, I gotta go. You know, there's things that you don't want to do at that moment, but then you love jujitsu. It's part of who you are.
And that's
so once you get your mind right, it's like, okay, I just got to do this because it's part of it. It's who you are. It's what you love to do. So regardless, you're going to do it. It makes it easier.
And that leads into something else. Because you have those moments where you feel like you don't want to do something, and then you fucking do it. And then after you do it, you feel good about it. And that's something that I want to talk about. But before we get into that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, and share it with the people that you know. Like I was saying before, if you guys go to our website and you look at the top, you'll see all of our social media tags. And you can click on any one of them. You can search Opposites Attract Podcast on any of the search bars on any of the social media, and you'll be able to find us. Or you can search our handle, Opposite Pod, and you can find us that way. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. What else? Fucking everywhere.
Yes, every platform that you listen to a podcast or watch a podcast, we are there.
And that is for social media. So, but to be able to listen to the podcast or whatever, wherever you're listening to it, you can share this with somebody else.
Yes.
And on YouTube and on Facebook, we put out clips that you can share with people as well. Those are short clips from the podcast that...
Some are funny as shit, you guys. Take a listen.
Yeah.
Take a listen.
Yeah. Sometimes we try to make them funny and, informative, but you guys can check it out and share it with the people that you know. And when you go to our website, you can send us a message. You can click on the contact us or...
if you have suggestions or you have comments or there's a topic that you would like for us to talk about, whether it's parenting, relationship, finances,
whatever. Yep.
Yeah,
And also when you go to our website, if you click the support the show tab, that'll take you to our Amazon link. I know everybody shops on Amazon. Anything that the best way to help us out on this podcast is if you go to Amazon, you put your stuff in your cart, then you go to our website, click on the support the show tab, and that'll take you to the Amazon link. Click on that and then check out. And so that helps out the show.
Why would you want to support Opposites Attract?
Because we're putting up doors in the office. And we want
There's so much. Your money goes to putting up doors in the podcast. Or now we are putting rails like you're getting.
Yeah, we're trying to set up the lights so that we can make the podcast more efficient, so that so that we can get started on the other podcasts that we want to do. But it'll just make us more efficient so that we can, record easier.
Yes.
So that we can edit
so much easier.
So that we can, put out more content for you guys. And if you guys have ever gotten anything out of this podcast, share it with the people that you know. Leave us a comment, leave us a review, give us a thumbs up wherever you're listening to this. Whatever you can do to spread the podcast, that's really what we need the most.
Yes. And if you guys, there's another way that you can support the show as well. So as you can see, I am drinking a glass of wine. We haven't really drank alcohol on this podcast in a while. And you have some rum. Me too.
Holy shit.
Well, yeah, you poured me half the bottle, my cup. Thank you.
Yeah.
But if you would like to buy us a drink, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod, and we will, it's purchasing a virtual coffee or, hey, a bottle of wine, whatever it may be. You can also subscribe on a monthly basis. Yep. And everything, we appreciate you all. We love you all. That's why we continue to do what we do, with this podcast.
And you know what?
Oh, and by the way, we're lining up guests for you all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting back with, bringing on some amazing guests. So we already have 3 lined up right now. And so stay tuned.
Yeah. And one thing that I kind of wanted to mention is like all the things that we're doing with the podcast. Like we're setting up the office for the coaching, the office is looking awesome. We got the bookcase and
smells good.
We got the doors are up. Like we're just making some changes around here that's going to really help Sonja with the coaching business. And also, as soon as we're done with that, we're rolling into, setting up some things in here for the podcast so that we can start doing some things with that. And, over the years, it's fucking crazy. It's April. This is 3 years this month in a few days.
Is it?
3 years in a few days.
That,
next week.
Yeah, we got to celebrate that for sure.
Fucking next week when we record. Next Saturday when we record, it'll be 3 years.
Have some giveaway.
We finally remembered beforehand.
I know. Hey, we have to have a giveaway like coffee mugs or stickers.
We're talking a lot of shit.
My favorite dildo or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll put our logo on it. Hey, I'll put our logo on it.
Oh shit!
Hey,
but we got to think of something.
We got to talk about that. Yes, for sure.
So, over the years that we've been doing this podcast, like we're trying to grow it, and we're trying to do different things, but at the same time, like we want to be like trying to keep it real.
We will always keep it real. We will always keep it real.
What I'm saying is like the whole point when we first started the podcast was for us to like do our thing. For us to do our thing and let people in, because part of us doing our thing is always working on ourselves.
Yes.
We're always working on the next thing and trying to get better.
Just to become better.
And,
humans. Yes.
Our kids are growing. We can share some of the experiences that we have with the kids, the things that we learn, the good things, the bad things, things to watch out for, things that you might look forward to, things in the relationship, all kinds of stuff. Yes. But it was never like specifically meant to be like
anything.
It was just like we were just going to share our experiences.
This is like a podcast, like a reality show.
Right. Because we've talked about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's no holdbacks.
Whatever.
We talk about
we're interested in. If something interesting comes up, we'll talk about it.
Right.
Which has also made it difficult for the podcast to grow.
Right.
And with these changes that we want to make and setting the office up and the studio up in a way that's more efficient will help us be able to start stuff that's more specific.
Right.
Like your spiritual podcast.
Yes, I'm excited.
And my martial arts podcast. And that all feeds back into, because it's weird in a way, like when we would talk to people about the podcast, and they're like, well, you guys got to niche down to parenting or marriage.
Everybody would say
this or that. But that to me would feel like handcuffing me to something. Like that's not why I started this thing. Is to only talk about that.
I'm going to handcuff
I want to talk about whatever the fuck. What?
I want to handcuff you later.
Yeah. But you know, so
See,
we're
I love
excited.
That. He's so submissive. Yeah.
Wow, What's that fucking Rihanna song? But yeah, like that. Sharing the podcast and setting up these things is going to help us grow other podcasts that can also filter into this podcast, which will be great.
And we want to thank those of you that are shopping. Like it's so easy, you guys. I know we always want easy, right? You go to our website, you click on support the show. There's a tab for Amazon. You click on that and then just shop. We did receive another check. So thank you. Thank you for those of you that are going to our website and are using our link. I want to give a shout out to Kayla and because she's one of my clients, and I know that she had mentioned that she was shopping through our website for stuff that she was purchasing from Amazon. So thank you, Kayla, and anyone else that is doing it. We do appreciate you.
Yeah. So we were talking about like all the great stuff, right? That has happened in our life.
Since we woke the fuck up. But a big part of it is the work that you have to put in to getting to that point. Yeah. And we could have gave up so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lately, there's something that I want to talk about, but we've been working through something with one of our kids, right? And it's something that it's not just kids, it's everybody, like a lot of people, especially today. And we've heard it so many times, but the delayed gratification. Like so many people just don't understand. It's a fucking credit card. The delayed gratification, just fucking earn it. Earn it. It'll feel so much better than if you just put it on a credit card or shortcut your way. Or, you gotta put the fucking work in. Stop trying to go around things. There is no other way. You want to know the secret? It's so cliche, but you want to know the fucking secret? There is no fucking secret. Get to fucking work.
So what Miguel is talking about, well, a great example is like, we all want to lose weight. We all want to look great.
In a bikini.
Yep. So what do? You look for the easy way out. Diet pills. That used to be me. Dude, I used to pop them in. Was did I try when I was with you?
Yeah.
There's no easy way out. It may give you some results within that time. And then as soon as you go back to your old self, you gain all that weight back plus some. Versus doing it the right way. Eating healthier and working out. Like seriously. Knowing your body, because everybody's body is different. What works for you may not work for me. And putting in the work. Going to the gym. Working out. Eating the chicken salad versus the hamburger.
Right. Yeah. So, like if you guys have been listening to this podcast for any period of time, you guys know that like school is something that has, I think for a lot of parents, it's just, we've talked about it on the last couple episodes. It's just teaching kids, learning, school is tough on parents. Right. It's a big, we talking about stress. Yeah. That's a fucking stressor right there.
Right.
Right. Knowing that the school system's all fucked up. Knowing that the school system doesn't teach them what they need to know.
The teachers just don't get paid the teachers.
And the thing is that it's so fucking hard because it's like, okay, so is it the teacher's fault? They have 30 fucking kids in the class.
Right.
It's fucked up all the way around. But at the end of the day, we're the parents.
That's right.
We need to take ownership.
Yes.
And that is something like we were talking about in the last episode with the document, taking ownership for the shit that you need to take ownership for, because at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck.
Nope.
It is what it is. So if you're going to fucking blame the school system, the whatever the fuck, your kid's going to be a dumbass. They're not going to know how to learn because you fucking left it in their hands and you didn't do what the fuck you were supposed to do. I'm just saying.
I know.
Because people, like, you need to take that for yourself and understand that if they're going to learn it, it's going to be up to you.
Yes. Dude, that took us a while. Right?
And
you used to
because
flip
I told you,
out on that. You used to get so pissed, and I'm like, dude, we are the parents.
Well, at a certain point, like even this last week, our Joey was telling me like he's got some school tests or some bullshit. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, really, I don't.
Tu boca, güey.
I don't give a shit about any of your school testing, any other metrics, or any other bullshit. What I care about is the things that you're going to need to be successful in life. We need to know reading and writing. We need to know math. We need to know like basic life skills, debt, income.
Which that's us.
Investments, interest.
Teachers don't teach that.
But it shouldn't be.
I know.
But that's the thing. If you're just going to leave it to the school, they're not going to learn that stuff. And that's more important than the crap that they're teaching them. A lot of times. Right? And another thing is like a lot of times, a lot of people want to take the easy way out.
Yep, the shortcuts. They want to figure out the shortcuts, and yeah, there's no shortcuts. All you're doing is shorting yourself. All you're doing is cheating yourself.
So, with Joey and the reading and all the problems, like the struggles that we've had, not problems, but just the challenges, the struggles that we've had. We get on them. And, we try to, like, we're always thinking of something like, all right, let's read this book. Let's do this. We're always fucking on some shit, trying to get him on the right track. And that's part of being a fucking parent. This is one thing that I talked to my brother about earlier this week. There's these hard situations that come up. And that is the time when being a parent matters. That is the time when you are a parent. Anybody can go through the easy times of being a parent and do that shit. The happy times, that's easy. It's the hard times. Like, what do you do during the hard times? That's what makes you a good parent. It's like when shit gets tough, what do you do?
Do you let up? Do you give up? Do you give in?
Do you figure it out? Do you push through? Do you find answers?
Right.
That's when it's being a parent time.
Miguel and I remember always saying, these kids don't come with the manual. The truth is, there's so much out there. There are so many books.
There's no excuses.
There really is not. I mean, we have interviewed some amazing individuals on brain development and authors that have written some amazing books to teach you how to become a better parent.
Yeah.
And taking responsibility, because a lot of times if you see your child, they are a reflection of you. We are all mirrors of each other. And when I was going through my personal coaching, I recognized that I was raising Audrey in a way that was based on fear of my insecurities that I was placing on her. Because I felt a certain way about me.
Yeah.
And when I recognized that I was raising her in fear or insecurities, when I recognized that, I had to take responsibility. And I had to, I saw it all. And just all I had to do was make the decision. I recognized it, I healed from it, and I changed it.
Yeah.
And I spoke freely to her.
Yeah. When we figure some shit out, or when our opinion changes on something, or we learn something, we share it with the kids.
And apologize to them for the shit that we've done wrong. And it's funny because we see these things and they really are unaware. It's what we've created within our own minds a lot of times.
What do you mean?
Like, she didn't recognize, like I told her, I said, you know what? I'm sorry that I was so hard on you when it came to school. It was because I felt that I was lacking.
Yeah.
That's why I was so hard on you. Because I wanted you to be so much better than I.
Because at a certain point, I guess, like you want her to be better than you. But you're not looking at, like, what does she need for life? You just want her to be better than you.
Right. But it was all shit that I made up.
Right.
Do you because I did well. Like, meaning in my school, like my education, I always worked hard. Harder than most. Because I learned a lot. I learned different. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of me in her. So the fear and insecurity that I had within, I felt was coming out when I was teaching her or talking to her. But it's weird because she didn't even recognize that.
No. Yeah.
And a lot of times we see things with the lenses that we create. Earlier I was sharing that I was upset with you. Was it yesterday or the day before? There was like a disconnect. And I recognized that. And I was seeing everything in a different lens. And I'm like, I need to meditate.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get. I'm seeing you
need
through
to
a
refocus
lens. Exactly.
on what's important.
And once I did that, I started seeing you through love. And it was like an on and off switch. Boom. Just so easily.
You know what
just
it is?
So quickly.
You know what it is? You needed to refocus on what was important.
That's right.
And when you did, you started to see what was important.
Yep.
It's crazy how simple that is.
It is really simple, but you got to learn it.
Right.
Like, you have to be so in tune with yourself that shit is so fucking clear when you know that you're unaligned.
It's like, that shit doesn't matter. This is what's important.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like you and I until, right? Like you and I until.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Adriana. The song.
Oh, yeah. Well, before you get into the song, like, so I was saying with Joey, all the stuff that we had gone through, I had a talk with him on the way home today. We went to jiu-jitsu this morning, and we've been having some struggles with him with the reading and some issues that we've had. And it's like, just like everything else, and with like a lot of times humans just want the easy way out. Like, nobody wants to fucking struggle. Nobody wants that. But like we've been talking about, life is getting easier and easier every day. And you have to find ways to make yourself struggle, to stay. I don't even know how to fucking.
What you mean by easier is now you don't even have to go to the grocery store to go
DoorDash,
shopping. You can just get the shit delivered. Like, yes, we're not having to hunt for our food. But the thing is just there.
When something happens, you just don't have it in you to fucking figure out how to do what you have to do to fucking make it through that event.
Right.
Or how to survive, how to get past it.
Right.
Because shit's just so easy.
Yeah. We're getting softer.
So if you're doing hard shit, you get used to it. And then when something comes up, it's like, well, that's not as hard as this. I can do that.
Yeah.
Nothing that fucking life throws at me is going to be as hard as the shit that I already do.
Right.
So bring it.
Right.
But with Joey, I had this conversation with him on the way home. And I was like, there's two things that I wanted to share with him. And the first was, life's not fair. Life is just not fair. And when you can understand that life isn't fair and just fucking move past it, and like, okay, now what? You'll be so much better off. Because so-and-so had a head start because their parents, whatever the fuck, like had money or what.
Yeah.
And that comes with its own problems. Or I wanted to do this, but this person's way bigger, way stronger, way whatever. And guess what? It's not fair. Sucks for you, but that's not you.
It's finding the fight within you to win.
Like, I was just telling, I was like, good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to good people, and bad things happen to bad people. It's just what it is.
It's life. Yeah.
So when you can get past, well, so-and-so fucking, like, who gives a shit? Yeah. Life's not fair.
Growth happens through suffering.
And that was the other thing that I told him. I was like, you either suffer now or you suffer later. Mm-hmm. No matter what, you're going to suffer. I was like, right now, you don't like reading. And you fight us every way, like whenever it's like, it's a struggle. It's a problem. You either suffer now through learning how to read. And it's not that he doesn't know how to read. It's just getting to that level where you're proficient reading, writing, you know. And it takes effort to get to that level when you're a kid. Mm-hmm. And it's like you either struggle now and suffer now, suffer through the pain of learning how to do it, or what do you think happens if you're an adult and you don't know how to read? How does your life look if you're an adult and you don't know how to read?
Yeah.
Are you going to suffer more now, or are you going to suffer more then?
When you like, that's amazing. That's so good. When he's with me and we're driving, I'm like, Joey, look around. How do you know where to go if you don't know how to read? Which he knows how to read, but still, it's getting him to recognize. Like, reading is everything.
Yeah. I also told him, like, the jiu-jitsu tournament. There's times when I'm in class, like this last Thursday, I showed up to class tired. When I got to class, I was already like, I'm fucking tired. Yeah. We went through class and then we rolled like I don't know how many fucking rounds. By the end of by the time I was done, I was exhausted. And I was telling Joey, either I suffer now in my training, or guess what's going to happen when I compete?
Right.
Guess what happens if I get into a fight? Guess what happens if I'm not fucking prepared for life? You're going to suffer. You suffer now or you suffer later. Yep. But there's no way to avoid it.
And these conversations is what has helped us create some beautiful children. You know, Adriana, there was a lot of very similarities at his age. And now we don't even have to worry. The girl is so beautiful, like inside and out. Oh my goodness. Like, I am so in love with like just both of our kids because I see them. Like I see them. They're beautiful, beautiful beings, like just loving and kind. And Joey is still learning.
Yeah.
Boys take a lot longer to mature than girls.
Take it easy. All right.
What does that mean?
You boys take a lot longer.
They do to mature a lot. Yeah. You know,
they do take.
You matured. You've been through.
I would say they take a little bit longer.
You were put in through some tough situations at a very young age.
Some kids are forced to grow up. So you grew
up a little. Yeah, exactly. Joey's not living that life.
He's not about that life.
He's not about that life. So when I see Audrey, oh my God, she's her and I went boxing. Like she went with me to my class. That girl, she's got that fire. She's got that fire that like, okay, so she's very loving and kind and spiritual and like just very intuitive. Oh, that girl, very intuitive, very empathic, just like her mommy, better than her mommy, right?
Yeah.
And then, wow, she's got that fight. She's got that desire to fucking win.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that at her age. I'm getting that now, but I didn't have that at that age. And that is you. Do you understand? Like she is us. She has all the good things of me and some of the bad things, but she's got all the good things of me. She's got all the good things of you. And I just see her and she's like just this bright star. Like it's excited. So beautiful and amazing to see. And I am so proud of us because even though we're having struggles and challenges, that's nothing that oh my God, like this is new. We've been through this before.
Right. We've talked about this before.
We've been through this before.
And one last thing before we get out of here, I wanted to mention exactly kind of what you're talking about. Is we have been through this before.
Yes, we have.
We've been through this before with Audrey. And sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
We forget how she used to be. We see her how she is now and compare Joey to how she is now.
And that comparison will kill.
She's got that fight.
Yeah,
she's got that fire.
Yes, she does.
She'll fucking grind it out.
Oh, she'll mess somebody up.
But she wasn't always like that.
No, she was not. She was all me at first, like all loving and caring and just
And like you say, boys maybe take a little bit longer.
Maybe. They do.
People, like I say, are different.
Yes.
Maybe it'll take him longer.
Yes.
Maybe he'll be different.
And
maybe he'll figure it out his own way.
Yes.
Who knows?
And this is the thing. Our job is to love them where they're at. Our job is to breathe life into them. Our job is to share the way we see them. Like Joey, I'm just like, oh, baby, if you could only see you through my eyes, you would recognize how courageous you are and how smart you are. And it's continuing to breathe life into them and then correcting them, like speaking from what we've gone through, like sitting with them and opening our hearts and saying, you know what, baby, I understand how you feel. You know why? Because I was that way. And this is what I've learned. It's being so open and honest and vulnerable with them. So they're like, oh, so there's nothing wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you. You're learning. Yeah. He's only 11. He's only been in this world for 11 years. But we have these expectations, our expectations, because of where we are today. But just continuing to talk to him and open your heart and being, you know what, Joey, I remember being scared.
Yeah.
I wanted
to take the easy way out.
I used to sleep with the radio on full blast because I was scared.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because he's going through that right now with taking out the trash in the dark because of what he's been through. Become relatable. Be like, you know what? I understand. Yeah. Because I was there. I was scared of the dark.
And help him through it. Because
he feels weak feeling the way he was feeling, but if you come down and he sees you as a God, which you are, right? You are everything he wants to be.
They're just little people going through life.
That's it.
And they're trying to figure it out.
That's it.
And they have less experience than we do.
This is how I know we are doing amazing. When our little girl played that song, for me, I realized that we are doing well.
Yeah.
So well. The way she sees you, the way she sees me, and it's our truth. It's who we are.
Yeah.
And if any boy thinks that he's going to manipulate my daughter, oh, he has something coming. Because she knows the way a man is supposed to treat a woman. The way a woman is supposed to be loved. Because I see my daddy loving my mommy. So I know what is real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's awesome. And with that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we mentioned before, share it with the people that you know when you go to our website. If you go to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, you guys can select a clip that you like and share it with the people that you know so that they can get familiar with the show and they can follow us on all of our social media at Opposite Pod or just searching Opposites Attract Podcast. But
yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.